Oh boy, here we go again. Our boy Terrence Crawford. I don't know. This guy is, I don't know if he's bipolar or what's going on with this guy, but he seems to have, I don't know what's going on with this guy. What he wants, what he doesn't want, what his focus is, what's not his focus. He's all over the place. A couple of weeks ago, he had his fight with Kell Brooks. He beats Kell Brooks. And at the end of that fight, he said, when it came to someone like Earl Spence, he could care less if he fights Earl Spence again or not. Like, he fights him, cool. If he doesn't, whatever. It's not a big thing to him. It's not even someone that he's focused on right now. If he fights the PBC fighters, he fights them, whatever. The main person he wants to fight right now is Manny Pacquiao, and that's it. When Earl Spence would talk about, yeah, he'd fight him at 60-40, he said, he's not fighting him at 60-40. If it's 60-40 his way, he'll fight him. And that he's the A side, that, he's not, Earl Spence not the A side. What has he accomplished? What has he done? Yeah, supposedly, him as Terrence Crawford has big accomplishments. So, that's what he wants to, if anything's going to go, it's going to go his way, because he's, quote, he's the A side when it comes to that particular situation. But again, if the fight happens, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. It is what it is. If he fights those other guys, it's fine. If he doesn't, then it's cool that, he's solidified. He's going to make it he's in the Boxing Hall of Fame already. He's good. He does not need them, that they, quote, need him. He said, what exactly makes these guys great? What? The fact that they're, this one is lost. This one lost to this guy, Sean Porter losing to Keith Thurman, Keith Thurman losing to Manny Pacquiao. And this, that, what makes them so great? Danny Garcia losing to Sean Porter and Keith Thurman. So what makes them so great? How are they the top guys? Well, it's like these guys, and why is, these guys are solidified. These guys have solidified themselves over the years as being the top guys in the division. That means you take any of these guys, you can put Terrence Crawford in that mix as well, and put him up against any other person in the entire welterweight division, they're going to be favored, period. Because these guys right here are the top guys. And, Ugas, you can kind of slide him up in there because he gives you any kind, he's going to give you problems. And that's one of the reasons why he's one of the fighters that people also want to see Terrence Crawford fight. So when they fight each other, yes, they're going to lose. That's just what happens. When you got the top guys facing each other, absolutely, they're going to lose. It's kind of like if you have all the top NFL players out there. If you got right now, if you got the Seahawks, if you got the Saints, if you got the Chiefs, maybe like the Titans, all these top teams, and they're just playing each other over and over and over again. Yes, they're going to take L's against each other, but they're still these are still the top guys. Like if they face anybody else, these guys will be favored against, let's say, all these other guys, right? Let's say they run through all these other guys. If you have like Green Bay, if you have the Chiefs, especially those two, what I'm saying? If you got those two, you got the Green Bay, you got the Chiefs, you got the Saints, and let's say they were just banging up against each other. Take one of the other top teams, maybe like the Seahawks or something like that, and let those four teams just keep banging up against each other, banging up against each other, banging up against each other. Yeah, they're going to be taking losses, okay? But let's say you're playing in that trash division that has the Washington, that has the Giants, that has the Cowboys, that has the Eagles. That's who Bud's fighting. Bud's fighting playing against those teams, But he's on, let's say he's on a team that's on the same level of these guys over here, as the Seahawks, as Green Bay, as, as the Chiefs, as the Saints. He's as good as them, but he's not playing them. He's playing this trash league over here. So yeah, you're winning a whole bunch of bouts. Absolutely, yes, you are. You are, because you're playing those lower tier guys. These guys are the D1 players. Okay? These are D1 basketball players. And they're banging up against each other. Top teams, let's say in the league. Especially those leagues where the top teams are all like in the same league where they're playing against each other. So yes, they're going to take losses. But if they face anybody else, they would be the number one dudes. They'll be certified, favorites to beat whoever else they play. And you're as good as those guys in that league, but you're playing D3 instead. You're not even playing D1. You're playing D3. So yes, you're destroying all these D3 players, but you're not going to get the same level of props. You're not going to. And these guys, even though they might be taking L's, they're gonna just solidify. They're gonna have a whole lot more respect than you're gonna get playing those D3 players that you're playing. That's why when, especially Earl Spence, keeps fighting these guys, he can have this types of gates that he's having. That's why he can have the types of pay-per-views that he's having. Because of the level of competition that he's fighting, he's playing against. He's playing those top tier teams. He's playing in that NBA, what's it called? In that Division I, what's it called? Conference that's tough as hell to play in. So yes, he's getting that type of respect. Absolutely. And for whatever reason, that doesn't seem to compute in his head for whatever reason. Now all of a sudden he's saying, oh man, Earl Spence, I really want that fight. Oh, I really want that fight. I want him and I want Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, I want those guys. I want him, I want Manny Pacquiao, then I want to fight Danny Garcia. So I don't get in one, you trashed him in one hand, supposedly, because Earl Spence hasn't fought any, he only has one real fight, and Sean Porter's only fought, quote, one real fighter. All these guys that haven't done anything whatsoever, and but in the same breath, then you say, oh, but I want to fight them guys. I want to fight them though. I want to fight Earl Spence real bad though. But I don't care if I fight him again or not. That's what it was the other week though. And that's what it's probably going to be the next week. It's confusing. Because if you really truly do want to fight these guys, then you got to make the necessary moves to put yourself into a space where that can happen. Or when these other Keith Thurman or Sean Porter say, hey, I want to fight you, you can't just close your eyes to that and brush them off and just, why am I going to fight them? You can't do that. You got to take the necessary steps to fight these other guys if they're available to you and put yourself into a space where you solidify it, especially if you want that 50-50. If you want that 50-50, solidify and put yourself into a space where you're garnishing that same type of energy and that type of respect, and that type of monetary gain that Earl Spence is bringing in. So then you can come to the table even keel, then it would make sense. With this fight over here, there's a possibility in the last 3 fights, you combine all those 3 fights, Earl Spence would have done over 1 million pay-per-views. At $75 a pop. Do the math. Not even including his gates. It's just a whole different level. And if you, quote, want these fights, then you need to understand that and start making the necessary moves to do that, especially business-wise. Especially business-wise. The kind of attention would garnish a Terrence Crawford versus a Sean Porter fight right now? Because he said, I'm not going to fight Earl Spence right now. He just has a fight coming up. And that's true. But Sean Porter's calling you out again and saying that he wants to fight you again. Do you understand the kind of energy that would garnish? That's a pay-per-view bout. But he's brushing that off. Not even mentioning Sean Porter. And what's going to probably happen is Earl Spence fighting Sean Porter again on pay-per-view and doing 350,000 plus pay-per-views again. What's going to happen probably after that is Earl Spence either fighting a Manny Pacquiao or fighting a Keith Thurman on pay-per-view if he's able to beat Ugas and doing a 350,000 plus pay-per-view after that. After that, he can fight an Ortiz Jr., which De La Hoya is on the brink, His company's on the brink of sinking. So if you can do a pay-per-view bout with him, with that guy, and he's still young where you can still rebuild him, they're going to do that pay-per-view in Dallas, AT&T Stadium, 500, 400, 500,000 pay-per-views, 30, 40,000 people in there. They're going to do that. And you continue to be pushed further back. You keep trying to get people to believe something. And, oh, I'm the guy. I'm the man. I'm the top dude. He said he's taking over. What are you taking over? Supposedly he's quote, they know I'm taking over. What are you taking over? What are you taking over? That guy's fighting on pay-per-view. That guy's doing the big gates. That guy's generating all the big boy money. That guy's, his opponents after the pay-per-views and the gates have been generating more money than you. Mikey made over $7 million. Sean Porter netted over $7 million when he fought Earl Spence. They're doing what you do in 2 fights when they face him. Danny's going to net. I don't know how it's because of the gates. But they're still going to have a gate, but I'm not sure what that's going to generate because of everything that's going on. But even that, you're looking at 6+. That's what he's going to be looking at. Being promoted the way they are on ESPN, not on ESPN, on Fox, doing the football games and everything of that nature. If this is what he wants, then you got to wake up, dude. You got to wake up and start making the necessary steps to get to this place, to the plane that you're saying that you want to get to. You know, because it's his big thing was, oh, they're going to appreciate me. They're going to love me, after I retire. With what you're doing, no, we're not. No, we're not. We're going to call you someone that was really, really good that wasted his talent by not fighting the best. And that's all people are going to remember about you. So, wake up, man. Time to make some moves. For now, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.